Yay. Well, that happened. I can say another listless defensive, not an opportunity really. It's just another defenseless. It felt like more defenseless than anything. So it's not even that we were very defensive. We were very defenseless in the end. But it will go through each one of the stats. We'll go through kind of the things that hopefully we'll be able to start to do to be able to slow other teams down, because really it doesn't seem like that seems to be the issue, that we just can't stop anybody from penetrating. And we'll see what we can again, we'll see what we're able to do to try to better ourselves for the upcoming NBA Cup, because that is the next game that the Magic are going to be playing. They're going to be playing in the NBA Cup, and hopefully we can right the ship at least for one game, at least that important game. Obviously, we want to right the ship over the course of the entire season, but right now, I think that's starting to slip through the fingers. I know it's very early, and I'm not saying that the Magic are incapable of digging themselves out of this hole. It just troubling the way we're losing, and I think that's going to be the biggest concern. It's not that we're losing, it's how we're losing. And if we are going to continue to lose in this manner, I think that is going to be the thing that is going to really hold us from being who we want to be in the future, in the short term future, in the next 6 months, and in the long term future, in the next few years. So let's get into it. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Magic fans, by a Magic fan. I'm Edwin Valentine, and I want to thank you very much for clicking on this live stream or this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. If you're on X, swing on by at any point to the YouTube channel. And if you want to do so, hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on any content that I produce, as well as liking the video, sharing the video, and dropping a comment in this live stream or in the video when it ends up on my feed. So I think really there's not really one place to start other than our defense. So of course we ended up losing 127-112 to the Trae-Less Atlanta Hawks. Now obviously there's going to be goods and bads with Trae Young not being on their team. He is their offensive hub. So in a lot of ways, there's many times where you can focus all of your attention, all of your defense on him to slow him down, to affect how he plays, so that the rest of the team is not able to get going. And then when they when you don't have your main guy, as we saw last year as a Magic team when we lost Paulo and then when we lost Franz, is that there is an adjustment period about a game or two. For us, we lost I think 4 or 5 games before we were able to right the ship, and then we were able to kind of understand how to play. And this team, the Atlanta team, seems to have been able to do that a bit quicker than what we did last year. They have, it looks like, at least from today's game, that they know who they are. They know who will be able to be the point of attack, who be how they're going to be able to attack mismatches that they might not have had if they had Trae Young on the court. So in that way, it's actually kind of like it's a blessing in disguise. They say that a lot about injuries, unfortunately, because it gives other guys an opportunity to flourish and to be able to spread their wings a little bit more than if they were if they had Trae Young on the court. So we're seeing that with, I would say, Dyson Daniels, who did a lot of attacking from outside the 3 point line and attacking and dishing, because really he did shoot 8 of 9 in the end, but he really was doing a great job of getting others involved. Jalen Johnson, I don't think played as great of a game, to be honest, at least compared to Reese Shea or compared to Dyson Daniels, but or even Porzingis, to be honest. But Jalen Johnson is, I would say, and many people would say, is their best player now overall. Obviously, he could, because he can play defense where Trae Young is not as capable on the defensive end. So I think that is evident when you look at a game like this, that the Magic just can't stop anyone at the point of attack. They cannot stop outside the arc. They're not able to slow teams down, and it's just concerning. Really, it's absolutely concerning because this is the team that we have, right? This is the team. Jalen really wasn't much of a factor in this game defensively. Obviously, he has all the energy and he's still coming back from injury and all of that, but he's been fouling a lot so far. We try to give it a bit of a leeway because he's getting back into the swing of things and all that, but it's almost like he's forgotten all the rules of the NBA, right? Like he had 3 fouls going into the start of the second half and he picked up that really cheap foul, and then also like the really cheap foul on Porzingis, as if they weren't gonna call that foul. So I don't know. It just Jalen really hasn't been, uh, for the most part, hasn't been Jalen. At least the head of the snake on the defensive end, like we're accustomed to. That he just has not been able to be that person so far. He's had spurts, obviously, across the 8 games now that we've played, and we're hoping that he's going to be able to crank it up to 11 at one point. But it can't just be him, really, right? So unless AB is going to start, and it could be him and Jalen both really being the two-headed snake that KCP and Jalen were early on last season, unless that's going to be what we do, really we are going to be suffering on the defensive end because it seems that in this game we saw early on Shea was attacking Desmond, and Desmond is not a bad defender, but he's not a great defender. So being a neutral defender, it really depends on matchup and whether he's going to be able to be taken advantage of. And Shea early on was just taking it to him. He had an and one, he had another drive where Desmond lost him. So there was a few instances in this game where you really start to be like, ruh we're really gonna have to outscore teams, unfortunately now. And Mosley's has a job ahead of him because we were worried about doing better on offense, and we assumed that the defense was going to kind of continue to be we where our bread was buttered and what we excelled at and what we were good at. But in the end, the offense is fine. We're scoring more than we did last year, but our defense is really the trouble. So now this is what the fourth time that we've given up 120 points. I think 4 out of 8. So half of the time, half of our games so far, we've given up 120 points. That's just something that shouldn't happen to a Magic team. I know the NBA is a little different right now. The NBA is really wide open and teams are scoring a lot more. So like fair enough. Like you can kind of accept it to an extent, but the way teams are scoring on the Magic is the thing that really I think there should be the concerning part, because it's not that they are just lighting us up from three and they did get a couple lucky bounces on threes. The Atlanta team did this afternoon or this evening, but it's just they're jamming it down our throats. They're jamming it down our throats. It's we cannot stop anybody at the point of attack, and it's I think that's the concern. Because if you hated KCP last year, fair enough. He didn't provide the volume and the accuracy from three that we really needed last year, but at least he played his behind off on defense, and that was what he was able to do. He was able to at least contribute in a career high in 2 point shots, as well as his defense, and it kept us in games even when we couldn't score. So right now that seems like we can score, and we still scored 112 points even in a blowout loss. In this one, we scored 112 points. The level of defense that Desmond can play, it can't get up to what KCP was. So now we have to kind of see to what level Desmond can actually get in, because Desmond was in the last couple of games he was pretty he was not non-existent. That sounds horrible. I wouldn't say that, but in the last 2 games prior to this one, he'd let go of the reins and given it back to Franz and Paolo for them to initiate on offense, and he really wasn't providing that much punch on the offensive end. In this game, there was a time where both Paolo and Franz were struggling in the first half, and Desmond did what Desmond should and Desmond is brought in to do, and just kind of take over for a little spurt of time there. Hit a couple threes, was able to attack, and that is this. That's stellar. That's exactly what we need from Desmond. We need the spacing because even in this game, there were a couple times where there just wasn't enough space for Paolo and Franz to drive, so then they get picked. The guy comes down and digs and is able to hit the ball or at least hit the arm of Paolo and Franz, and either they're not calling the fouls or they're getting to be able to tip the ball. So it's not rocket science really. We need Desmond to shoot threes and to hit threes ideally for our offense to be at the level that we want it to be. Now, offensively is not really the issue, I feel, other than, of course, free throw shooting and turnovers, which are something that we've talked about. So go back to any of my videos already. I've talked about that on multiple times. It's not something that we're surprised in. It's the free throw shooting, which is something that kind of held us back last year, and turnovers, which also kind of held us back last year. So we were hoping bringing in Desmond and Tyus we're going to be able to help remedy that a little bit. They weren't going to just be a immediate fix to everything, but we were hoping that they would be able to try to help that. And Desmond actually is turning the ball over more than most of the guys on the team, and that just is an unfortunate reality of the first 8 games of the season. So really we're already what 10% through the NBA season and we're 3-5. So let's just hope that that is not that's not going to be indicative of what we're going to be for the next few months. So again, we really are trying to stay calm, trying to stay cool, say it's early on and they're trying to mesh these things together, and that's fair enough. But on defense, the meshing, you don't need mesh, you need titanium, you need some fiber alloy, you need all kinds of new alloys and new things, you need vibranium really to be able to mesh this defense together right now, because this is the issue with the team. It's not on offense, it's the defense, which who would have thought that that would have been what we talked about at the beginning of the season, that it was the defense that was the issue and not the offense. So it really just comes down to that. Our inability to stop anyone at the point of attack allows for drives, and people are driving like at will on the Magic. And even like AB did a pretty good job of defending, but the guy gets past him a little bit and is able to still get the ball at the basket. And if the guy is able to get the ball up to the rim, a lot of the times, not in this game because we actually out rebounded. We had more offensive rebounds than Atlanta did. So it wasn't that they were offensive rebounding, but what they were doing was just kicking out, kicking out, kicking out. And it just makes the rest of the defense have to scramble throughout the whole entire possession. And it's hard to play defense like that all the time. And the Magic were able to play defense like that last year, in that they were able to scramble, but that's because they weren't having to constantly scramble all the time, because right now our guys are turnstiles. Right now guys are blowing right past our initial defender or their initial defender, getting to that second level of defense. And Wendell or Paulo or Goga or JI or whoever is the one in that back end that has to step up, because now the the defender has been beaten at the front. Now they have to step up and they're doing their job, right? So now they're kind of hung out to dry because they come up, and that's where there's been a lot of alley oops over them, or they come out and then or the guy from the corner comes in to help out a little bit to at least slow down the drive and maybe dig in a little bit as well, and maybe do the same thing that's happening to the Magic, and they just pass it out more efficiently. That's something that the Magic just have not been able to do, is to pass it out efficiently to the corners, and they get the open shot, because while the guy is trying to recover after the dig to get back to their defender, the guy's already up and shooting. The Magic just don't attack strong side like that, and that's something that they might have to start looking into offensively. But if again, this isn't the offense is not the issue; it's the defense, and Jalen's playing. He's maybe not 100% right now, or at least not where he will be, and won't be able to crank it up to 11 just yet. He's at a 8 or a 7, but for him to hold down the fort and the top is going to be it's going to be too much. And then eventually he's going to be throwing his body around. He's going to do all the normal Jalen things, and then after that, then he's going to end up injured, right? And we can't have that. So really, it's going to be an interesting time for the Magic coaching staff to kind of figure out on the fly, obviously, because there's not really that much time. They have a practice. I'm assuming they're flying back tonight from Atlanta. The likely maybe a day off tomorrow, and then practice before the Emirates Cup game that's coming up this Friday. Maybe that's going to be the case, but all I know is that they desperately need to slow down guys from driving because we actually have the second best defense percentage wise on defensive field goals within 6 feet. So by the time they get to the rim, the Magic are doing a good job of keeping them from scoring at a high level. The only issue is they're getting there so frequently that we're giving up so many more points in the paint than what we've ever done before. And that's literally just because of that. It's because we are just not able to slow down even the opposing point of attack guys. Because before I was saying point guards, before I was saying that it was guys like um, Trey Young and uh, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, some of these guys, LaMelo Ball, like some of these guys that are fast and able to get into the paint. And those you can kind of be like, all right, I get it. But then when you see a guy like Dyson Daniels just straight line driving into the paint and the Magic have no answer. There's no one that's able to slow him down. Like is that just something that has Franz lost a step on defense? I don't see it necessarily. Like if you look at his defensive field goal percentage, it's not great. So maybe he's a step slow. Maybe that injury that had him questionable a couple of games ago is just something that really starting to affect him, and he's just that little hair slow, and he's not able to reach his long arms around and tap the ball away like he's been before when he would get beat. Is that what's going on? Because Paolo's doing a good job on the weekend, on the weak side, coming up and helping and being able to block shots and being able to affect the shots from the weak side. But it's the strong drive. It's the strong side drive. It's just guys going. And in this game, there was a lot of cutting that the Atlanta Hawks did a really good job. And this is where, if we're going to talk about the offense for a second, just seeing the way a team can have these plays. And it doesn't even seem like a complicated play. It's just the way that when a guy comes off the curl and the mid post and they get the ball, there's another guy that's cutting almost immediately, and every time the Magic were late on it. Their Magic were late on it constantly, and just something as small as that we don't have on offense, and it just feels so difficult for us to score. Even now, when we score 120 something points the last couple games and 70 points per first half, it still feels more difficult for us to score than other teams, and that's just something that we had hoped had been able to be changed with the new coaching staff that has been brought in for offense. But for whatever reason, that just isn't the case. So it's all about the defense. It's the defense. There's nothing more really to say. Obviously, offensively, if we could shoot better from three or hit our free throws or not turn the ball over, then we would outscore teams. But in the playoffs, that's not going to be the way that you win NBA championships or win playoff series, by outscoring teams. Technically, yes, you outscore them, but that's by holding them down and outscoring them. So, what is there to do? Are you going to start AB? Start AB with Jalen and have AB be the starting shooting guard. So we brought in Tyus to man the second unit, but then you're gonna have Desmond coming off the bench. Like that's not gonna be feasible. I don't see that being something that they would want to do. So it's gonna have to be something schematic. I saw they played a little bit of zone defense there as well. And what Atlanta was doing was they're coming from the weak side and setting a pick so that the guy was still able to drive through most of the heart of the zone. So really at this point, your guess is as good as mine as on what they're going to do. They're going to have to shake up the rotation, or they're going to have to just schematically just go to zone more and just hope that the other teams are not as smart offensively as what this Atlanta team played today, and hope the long arms and the long legs of the Magic are going to be able to cause some more deflections and we'll be able to do something. But the Magic having to play zone to slow down the Atlanta Hawks without Trae Young, like, just listen to that. It doesn't feel like that's something that should have happened or something that should be the outcome of what actually happened. And it almost feels like we're in the worst timeline, in the darkest timeline, really, being 3-5 with this team, but that we had so many more expectations for this team, and it's still early. We could all take a breath. We're not going to overreact. I Luckily I didn't wait to do my overreact or relax video that I posted to the channel earlier today. I didn't wait till tomorrow because it would be a lot more of an overreact on a lot of things. So we'll see how the rest of this week goes, and we'll see if I end up having to overreact a bit more on all of the defense that we've seen, because it seems that we are only able to play good defense against the really bad teams in Charlotte and Washington, and that's disconcerting right now. So, all right. That's enough about the defense. Really, there's not much more to talk about. We're going to go now to the stats of the game and see where we'd be able to hopefully be able to start to play a little bit better on the offensive end so that maybe we can start outscoring teams if we're not able to do much on the defensive end. So, if we look at the guys' stats now, we played better in the second half than we did in the first, but that's not saying too much in the end. So in 34 minutes, Franz scored 18 points on 6 of 15 shooting. This was a disappointing one for Franz. Another showcase game that, for whatever reason, he didn't come through at that well. 40% overall, 0 of 3 from 3. A couple of them were not within the flow of the offense, and his percentage is going to take a dip if he's not being more selective with his 3-point shots. 6 of 6 from the free throw line, though, so that's good to see. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 turnovers. A couple of them in that third quarter and that fourth quarter were just horrible, unfortunately. Like, I don't know what he was doing. He would jump into the air and spin and throw the ball off of a guy 2 or 3 times. He just ended up throwing the ball all over the place. These were very weird turnovers because Franz doesn't play that discombobulated, and for whatever reason, he was way off his game in this one. So that was an unfortunate one for us. Paulo, in his 37 minutes of action, 22 points on 6 of 16 shooting from the field. So another not efficient game for Paulo, and we're gonna start hearing the drum beat even more and more. What's wrong with the Magic? What's wrong with the Magic? And it's gonna add more and more pressure, and they're going to have to dig their way out. 0 of 4 from 3, unfortunately for Paulo, just continuing to take a hit in the 3-point percentage. 10 of 12 from the free throw line, which is very good. That hopefully will help his percentage there. Another double-double. Got to give him credit for continuing to hit the boards and getting his rebounds up. So 11 rebounds, 8 assists. He was doing a great job in the first half, at least especially in that second quarter, of analyzing where that double team was coming and just spraying it to the proper guy. And I think that was the most promising thing I saw from this game for the Magic was Paolo. It seemed like it was really clicking in this one, that he can see where the defenders were coming, and instead of reacting, it felt like more feel, like he just was just doing it, pew pew pew. It was a really good game for Paulo in the passing terms because he was getting it to the right guys. He wasn't overthinking it. It just came out. Also, he wasn't going into the paint and doing a spin move, because normally him and Franz, that's what they do a lot of the times. That's why we need space in the paint for them, because they'll go and then they'll spin. And a lot of the times there's that second defender is going to come from the backside and then he spins right into them. And then that's when a lot of his turnovers come. So he wasn't doing that. He was staying more face up, and he was doing a good job of seeing the defense and getting his teammates involved. So great job by Paulo in that respect. So one steal as well, but three turnovers, which also are a killer. So a double double for Paulo, but not a great game overall, which is saying something when you're two assists away from a triple double and it wasn't a good game. That again just shows how good Paolo can be. Wendell Carter, we knew this was going to be Wendell Carter Jr. Respect on the junior. I'm a junior. We knew this was going to be a difficult game for him, and it was. In 30 minutes of action, scored 11 points in the end. A lot of that in the second half. Four of eight overall, 50%. Just not many shots this time. One of four from three, two of two from the free throw line, five rebounds, one assist, five personal fouls. He was matched up against Porzingis, and Porzingis had every trick in the book to get fouls on Wendell. And Wendell, I think, did a pretty good job of staying focused and not going crazy. But maybe he should have gone crazy, and everybody should just got kicked out of this game because this was a frustrating one for them on the court. Talk about going crazy. Desmond in in, in 22 minutes of action because his day was cut short. He shot two of six overall for 9 points, two of four from three, which is great to see. Three of five from the free throw line. Unfortunately, missed a couple free throws there. Three rebounds, two assists, one steal, three turnovers. So another three turnovers. So he's underwater again from the assist to turnover ratio there, and four personal fouls, one technical foul, and a flagrant one foul. So talk about crazy eyes. Like he, for whatever reason, he ended up getting matched up with Okongwu on a fast break. Okongwu went up. He slapped down. He did the right thing to make sure that he didn't get an easy 2 points. But then as he slapped down, the ball was still in the air, and with the other hand, he grabbed it and threw it down at Okongwu. And then when his teammate came over to kind of defend his honor, and then he just kind of was like pointed at him. He was like, "You better try." And I'm like, "Whoa, this guy, this this was an intense Desmond." And I'm like, "Oh, what's happened in Desmond's life that he's got that type of switch?" We saw him give a shiver, a shoulder shiver to Tyrese Maxey in that one game. So it seems that he does take it personally when the team is getting punked a bit, which is a positive thing, and I do like that, and definitely. And there was a lot of this game that I actually liked from Desmond. Don't like him being ejected when in the end we were able to kind of claw it to within 11, and it would have been nice to have an extra 3 point shooter. But I do like his tenacity. I do like that he's not one that's gonna let us get punked very often. So we have been getting punked, unfortunately, but he's doing his best to at least do something about it. And two of six from the field, he he's let go of the reins a little too much for my feel. I'd like for him to get closer to Paulo and Franz, but not go over them. Like I think he should definitely still be third in usage, not sixth or seventh in usage like he has been in the last couple games. So let's hope that he finds a nice medium for where the way he's played so far and not be so ball dominant the first couple games, so hesitant in all ways. And hopefully this 204 kind of kickstarts him for us to play in these next two games against Boston, hopefully. Jalen in 20 minutes of action, 12 points, four of eight from the field, two of three from three. So that was also good to see Jalen start to hit the threes after the 0 for 7 in the last game. Two of two from the free throw line, two rebounds, four assists, three steals, two turnovers. So again, he has his steals, right? In 20 minutes, three steals is very impressive. But as you see, five personal fouls. Like he is just taking himself out of games by being so aggressive. And right now in today's NBA and this week's NBA, they're calling everything right now. You can see they're calling absolutely everything. And Jalen was actually able to even draw fouls by doing a little bit of flopping as well. And that's just the way it's going to be. So he needs to harness his energy and really try to tone it down. And there's no way he's going to do that, but which is why we love him and why he's the heart of the team. But it's really going to be hard for him to stay on the court, not even just because of injury maintenance time restrictions. It's just him fouling out or him being in foul trouble throughout the whole game. So we'll see how Jalen navigates this moving forward. AB, 26 minutes, 26 minutes of action, 7 points, 2 of 7 from the field. I'd like for him to be a bit more aggressive when it comes to driving a bit more. 7 shots is okay, but it's still not enough, I think. From him and Tristan are going to be the engines of our offense on the bench until Mo comes back. So he needs to continue to be more active and be more aggressive. 104 from three. He had one of them that was like most of the way down and came back up. So his line would have been just a little bit better on there. Hit both his free throws, which is good. Get that free throw percentage back up. 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover. Only 1 turnover. So that's a positive because it feels like he's not as much on ball anymore. And I think that's going to benefit him. He can be our 3/D, nine, be a secondary ball handler, but not the primary ball handler to constantly have the ball with him and then making poor decisions. So let's hope that he can continue to shoot the three and continue to drive the basketball. Tristan had a great game. 20 points for Tristan. So he ended up being second on the team in points. 8 of 11 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3 point range. Man, that one 3 pointer that he missed, if he would have hit that, it would have cut it to 8, and maybe it would have been an interesting game. We weren't stopping them as we saw by the score, but still would have made it a bit more interesting, and maybe they would have stopped themselves. Who knows? But unfortunately, he wasn't able to make that one, but he made all the other ones, which kept us into the game. So great job by Tristan. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. He did have 3 turnovers. Now, there were 2 instances late where we were getting real close to making it interesting that he did actually do a poor job of ball handling and ball and just making sure that he didn't turn the ball over. And unfortunately, those were the times. But I still trust Tristan more than I do AB at the moment because AB is over the course of 8 games, 7 previous. This one only 1 turnover. 7 previous was just turning the ball over way too much. And Tristan had a bad one in this one, but I still would trust Tristan a bit more with the ball. Goga also had a tough game, 13 minutes, 1 of 1 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, only 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 personal fouls in this one. So Goga was having a tough time. They were doing a good job of cutting. And there were a lot of times where Goga would have to step up to try to stop the progress of the ball handler, and then the ball, his guy would be out in the corner. Kongwu hit a couple 3 pointers while Goga was on him, but that's partially because Goga had to crash down to try to stop the easy layup, and then boom, the 3 pointer out to him. So that I don't really know what more Goga could have done. To be honest, he could have kind of hedged, I guess, but even then, like there was nothing really that was going to slow them down from what we were doing in this game defensively. So that is that for Goga. Tyus had his minutes cut, I would say, later on in the game. So Tyus with 7 minutes, 0 of 2, 0 of 2 from three, in 1 assist, 1 steal. That's all. So no points for Tyus. And right now, I think it's starting to. There's going to be some interesting questions. I think the soul searching has to start for the Magic already. I know it's early and they're only 3-5, but they can't end up 3-10 or 5-10 or anything like that. They need to really start to get this under control. And right now, Tyus is not performing, and if he's not able to perform offensively, it's going to be real hard to keep him on the court because defensively, he's just getting picked apart and he's just getting attacked. So hopefully, Tyus is able to snap out of it and get back to the more than 40% shooter that he has been, at least from the corners or someplace on the court right now. Uh, a Ji got into the game. There was an interesting bit for the last guys on the bench. So Ji got in, 1 of 3 from the field, 0 of 2 from three, and then he drove that last one that was in the corner. A guy came out on him and he attacked the closeout and dunked it. So that's where he got his one basket, 2 rebounds. That's all for Ji. -12 plus minus. Like he was on the court. He just wasn't really impactful in any way particularly. Like he was out there when the Magic were trying to make their first run in the second quarter, and it felt that they were ratcheting up the defense, but it just wasn't enough of an oomph from JI in this one. Jace Richardson ended up getting some of what probably would have been Tyus's minutes in the second half. So I guess they've heard the same thing and they've seen the same thing, that there's really not that much that Tyus is offering. So why not give Jace a chance? Jace ended up playing about the same amount, 0 for 1 as well, 0 for 1 from 3. The same thing. Him and Tristan, there was one instance where he was wide open for 3 and he missed it, that it would have cut it to, I think at that point it would have been maybe cutting it to 10 or 11, and the Magic were able to do that anyway, and then Tristan missed his 3, but it would have been real nice. So I think Jace, I would suspect, might start getting a bit more of an opportunity in the upcoming games, and hoping that he can do something. Now, defensively, he held up once. There were a couple times where, yeah, he gave up a layup, but there was a couple times where he did knock the ball off of Luke Kennard a couple times. So we'll see, really. But it's a wash between Tyus and Jace right now, and we need Jace to develop. So I don't know if what really what your flavor of backup point guard is. Mine would be the new one right now, just to again give him some reps, and he needs to get better over the course of the year. He ended up with 1 assist, it looks like, and yeah, 1 turnover as well. Jet ended up getting into the game, and like I always said, I wish we could transplant Jet's mentality into AB's body or into anybody's body, to be honest, because or actually to Tristan is what I said, because Tristan for a while wasn't being that aggressive in other games. There were 2 games out of the 8 so far that he really just didn't make an imprint in the game. But Jet, if he had the opportunity, that ball is going up and he's about to shoot it. So in his 6 minutes of action here, he got up 2 shots, hit one of them from 3 for his 3 points and his 2 personal fouls. And Noah ended up getting into the game as well. He was able to make 1 shot, a couple free throws as well for his 4 points and his 2 rebounds as well. So overall, the Magic didn't play that poorly from on offense. In the end, they got their shooting was only about 36% in the first half, and they got up to about 43% in overall. They shot 32% from 3. They were going to have to shoot more, and I will always say that. And yes, apologies if it's a broken record if you're watching these videos often, but we need to shoot more threes. And 34 is an okay amount, but we need to shoot more. And Tristan felt like he was the only one that was locked and loaded. Desmond shot 4 in this one. Paolo shot 4. Franz shot 3, but it's definitely something that we need guys to be bulk shooters, and it is what it is. But we shot 32% on that one, 88% from the free throw line, but we only got to the line 33 times. They got to the line 42 times, which is odd because the Magic are always the team that initiates the contact and initiates the fouls and gets the fouls most of the time, the foul calls. And this one was not the case. And the Magic were driving, so it's just one of those nights. It is what it is. 14 offensive rebounds. We had 14. They had 6. So we were definitely hitting the boards, especially since we weren't hitting a lot of our shots for a while there. 14 offensive rebounds is a great number. That's going to help, in the long run if we continue to have tough games like this offensively. 27 defensive rebounds, 47 rebounds overall. I think we out rebounded them. Yep, they only had 44. So we had 27, they had 28 defensive rebounds. So it's not like they were manhandling us on the rebounds as well. It was just there was just again something off. Something small is off, and that's just what it is. Like we ended up with 26 assists. That's more than they had. They only had 23 assists. We ended up with more rebounds than them. We ended up with less turnovers than them, and we still lost by 15, right? And we had more offensive rebounds. It wasn't like they were out rebounding us. So it is just it's one of those things. They had 2 more 3-pointers, a few more shots, and more free throws. So that's where it comes. And there was just a lot of frustration from the Magic in this one for them to get to that's and 30 personal fouls in this one to their 24. That is that. But yeah, to look real quick at their stats, Risa Shea was started the game off on fire. He ended up with 21 points. Yeah, 3 of 8 from three. He was the one that was really the catalyst at the beginning and got them off to a really strong start. 21, 4 and 1 with one steal. Jalen Jones, 17, 6 and 5. Like I said, kind of an okay game. I didn't feel like he played particularly all that well. Porzingis was the one that was attacking us and able to get other guys involved when he wasn't living on the free throw line, as we see with his 13 free throws and hitting 11 of them. So 15 points for Porzingis, 15, 2 and 3 with three steals. Dyson Daniels with 18, 6 and 6 and two steals. So Dyson Daniels is the one I felt played the best of all of them. Well, Risa Shea got them off. I'd say Risa Shea started it. Porzingis was there throughout the middle, and then really Dyson Daniels was the one in the second half. I felt that was really attacking the Magic, and if it wasn't really a closeout, he was just straight line drive, getting past our first line of defense and getting everybody else involved. And that's why he led the team in assists with six. No, Nikhil Alexander Walker with 20 points, 6 of 11, 3 of 5 from 3 of 5 from three. So 20 points, one rebound, two assists. Yep, seven turnovers. So he didn't really have the best of games. And then off the bench, Okongwu with 14, seven rebounds, three assists, one steal, one block. So I guess Kongu is a stud. So as a he's a pretty good backup, but again, not a prototypical backup. So he also has his limitations for them as well. So again, they shot 55%, 56%, 40 of 72 from the field, 43% from three, 13 of 30. So again, four more shots made, two more three pointers made, five more free throws made. There you go. That's how you get to 15. Only six offensive rebounds, 44 rebounds in total, 23 assists, 18 turnovers, and they still scored 127 points. So just we can't get if you can't get stops, especially if you can't slow them down at the point of attack. There's really not much that your defense is really going to be able to do because unfortunately your bigs are just going to be attacked at that point, and then it just becomes shooting range. And they normally shoot only 33% from three, and they shot 40 over 40% in this one. So a little bit of luck, let's say, in 3 point accuracy. Especially there was one that like bounced in and out and came up and back around. But that is what it is. It's the NBA, but them getting that open shot is because of the penetration. So we'll see what the Magic do in the next game. They have a couple days off before they play again on Friday in the Emirates Cup. So hopefully they're able to get together, figure out something schematically, because I don't think we have the athletes right now to be able to stop at the point of attack. So we're going to have to see what they do. And there's going to be more pressure that's going to be put onto Jamal Mosley's plate, because if we get off to a really bad start, not that the DeVos family is one to act irrationally or quickly, but when the national media continually talks about how the team is underperforming and it's because of their coach, it's not very often that a coach develops the talent and gets them all the way to the championship. So hopefully he's able to do something about this and able to stem the tide and be able to adjust things so that we are able to play a better bit of defense. Otherwise, everyone's going to talk about Malone. Everybody's going to talk about him and say that he's available and he's a championship coach and all of that. But really, it's going to have to be schematic because we just don't have the defenders to be able to play a high enough defense, especially at the perimeter. So we'll see another couple days before the next game. I'm not going to be doing a play-by-play immediately or live. I'm going to be traveling actually, so I will do it. I will watch the game and record my reactions and post it just so that we have all of them on there because I'm a completist and that's just what it is. And then I'll also have a post game on that one as well to hopefully be talking about a victory for the Orlando Magic in the Emirates Cup, because that's going to be the next game that the Magic play. They're going to be playing for the chance of going to the Las Vegas eventually by winning their, hopefully winning their division or winning their group and advancing eventually. But turns out that the group isn't going to be as easy as we thought, with all of a sudden the Philadelphia 76ers now uh, all of a sudden waking up. Miami's going to be a difficult one as well, since we already know them. We've played them already multiple times, and we were able to escape with a victory in opening night, as well as Boston. They seem to be a tenacious defense now, and you never know if they get hot from three. They haven't really been, and they're under 500 like we are. But we will see what they have to offer and what we have to offer on that upcoming Friday night game. So disappointing one, 127, 112. It's a shame that we were not able to take advantage of this start of the season, but hopefully again we're building upon things, and hopefully we're learning lessons along the way and getting better and better every day, and we're able to eventually, hopefully, possibly eventually be able to slow someone down so that we are not just getting blown by every single time and having to defend the paint the way we've had to. So we'll see on that. So again, if you're on X, come on over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on any content that I produce, and do the normal YouTube things like subscribe or like, share, post, comments below the video, do all that good stuff. So I really appreciate you for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking magic with me. I hope you're having a great night.